always good to talk to you and always good to have you in studio.
Good to be with you, Jenny.
And always something going on. And today, hearing on the Hill about National Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act. Why does the NRA feel it's so important?
Well, it's a historical movement, and it's one that NRA has been committed to for over 20 years. I remember when we first started out there were a handful of states where you could legally carry. And we're up now to 41-ish states that have shall-issue right-to-carry laws, and we're not going to quit until every single state in the United States has one. Reciprocity is also important. Why is it important? It's important for this simple fact. There are 25,000 violent crimes a week in this country. People feel the need to take charge of their own security. They feel the need to take personal responsibility for their safety. On the chance that the horrible happens, one of these criminals that ought to be in jail is out walking the streets, they will not have to sit there and scream, "Not me," as the crime takes place. They'll be able to defend themselves. It's one of the most basic rights any human being can have, and that's why NRA is determined that it be the law of the land.
You know, when I was talking with Congressman Gowdy earlier today, he was saying, you know, self-defense is a constitutional right. It's a fundamental right. And why shouldn't the Second Amendment be treated like every other amendment? Why does it have a different standard? And he says, you know, you get all these anecdotal incidents. You had Commissioner Ramsey talking about, you know, a situation here and there. He says, hey, it's an individual right and it should be treated that way.
Yeah, it should. And you look at the polling data on this, the American public is overwhelmingly, I'm talking 80% of the American public supports this. It cuts across every demographic out there. You name it, the American public believes this because the American public wants to be safe. They know at the scene of their crime, they're out there alone with the criminal. They know the only time government stops crime is it's lucky or it's coincidence. They know, despite all the good intentions of the police, when seconds matter, they're at least, at best, minutes away, and they want to be safe.
You know, it was very interesting because Philadelphia Police Commissioner Ramsey was there, and he was supposed to be there building a case for the antis, and he didn't do a very good job of it. But it was very interesting because he talked about how, you know, he's concerned that when you've got an offender in there pulling off armed robbery, you know, that the victim, if he reaches for his gun, it's going to make the offender shoot quicker. And then he goes on to talk about how he couldn't say whether carrying concealed works, makes a difference, or it doesn't. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, talk to a victim and they'll tell you, I at least want to have a fighting chance.
Well, I mean, I've said at the start, I said in Wisconsin that what right to carry for a victim means is a difference between no chance and a fighting chance. And there's not a victim in the country that wouldn't rather have a fighting chance than no chance.
And strong support in the House. What do you think the chances are you'll get this through?
Well, I think the American public, we have a tailwind to our back on this. The American public is strongly in favor of it. I think at the very root of American consciousness is a belief that I have a right to protect myself and it's worth defending. And we're going to not quit until we get this done. I mean, we have a long history of the NRA of being persistent. And we are going to make this happen because it's good policy, it will save lives, and it needs to happen. You
know, it was very interesting, too, Wayne. During the hearing today, they brought up England. And what happened, you know, what's the crime rate now that they, you know, don't have a handgun ban? And as you know, because you're the one who, you know, asked me to go over there and cover the aftermath, boy, oh boy, all you had to do is talk to those restaurant owners, and they'll tell you, we didn't have a chance. And some of them said, you know what, we wish we did have that chance. Don't do what we did. And I thought it was very interesting they brought up England because it's proof of what can happen.
Yeah, I mean, right to carry is about your right to be safe. Yeah. And we all saw what happened in England. I mean, we all saw that people are there trying to defend their house against robbers and looters and rapists and everything else with basically broomsticks. I mean, this is one of the most important battles the NRA has ever been involved with. You know, the American public, they see straight through the hypocrisy. I mean, the fact is, you know, you look at New York City. I mean, come on. I mean, Mayor Bloomberg up there, under the way they run that, if you're a celebrity, if you're a Wall Street banker, if you're a buddy of the political system up there, you get your permit to carry. The person that's flat out of luck is the person in the Queens or the Bronx that most needs it, and is told to take a hike.
Yeah, and you look at the news story today about the Bronx, and now prosecutors aren't prosecuting the cases. And who hurts the most from that is the law-abiding citizen who's got to deal with that repeat offender on the street.
So I mean, the elites, they get their permits. The elites, they have their bodyguards. They have their protection. This is about the non-celebrity, the non-titan of industry, the non-buddy of the mayor, that has every bit as right to be safe as anybody else does. And NRA is never giving up on that average citizen's right to be safe. We're going to make this happen. We're going to, all over the country, regardless of which state you live in, and we are going to keep coming back on reciprocity until it becomes law of the land.
And your message to the gun owners out there, keep the pressure on.
Keep the pressure on. I mean, this is the right fight at the right time, and we're going to make it the right policy for the United States of America.
All righty, thanks so much for stopping by,
Thanks,
as
Jenny.
always.